Okay, so we're looking at the use of Google Forms as a way of pre-testing a unit in and around endangered species and threatened habitats. So Google Forms are a very useful tool in the Google Drive suite of tools, that is docs, presentations, spreadsheets, forms and drawing. Okay. Where a lot of teachers are using Google Forms at the moment is for student and teacher evaluations, but there's also increasingly a number of teachers using Google Forms as a way of pre-testing. So hopefully this little video will show you the potential in terms of doing it for this particular unit. So in order to create a form, you simply go to create and we're going to form here, and by default it gives the form an untitled name, so we're going to put in the title here.
Right.
Yep. So we called it threatened habitats. Now, what it does at the time is it creates a separate spreadsheet where all of our responses are going to go into. Okay, so I'll talk about that a bit later on when we can populate the form. One really important thing about a Google form, when you're using it with your students, I would never, as a rule of thumb, tick the top boxes. So I just say untick all 3 boxes. What this does is it will prompt them for their CEO SID Schools username, but the students aren't part of the staff domain. So as a rule of thumb, just when using it with students, don't tick those 3 boxes. Okay, so we can see here, I've got essentially my page, threatened habitats. This is my form description here. So you can see there, form description. This is a small pre-test on the unit threatened, or I'm having a shocker here, habitats. Okay, and this is just an information field, okay, for the start of the pre-test. Now, once you've hit that, then we sort of just drop out. Now, by default, it puts in a multiple choice question type as the first response. Do you have to use that? No. We can literally just delete that. Okay, so this is the form title at the moment, and here's your opportunity now to add items to the form. The first thing we need to do is ask the student to type in their name. Okay, so we put in a text field. Please record your name, e.g. I'll just put in my name there for the moment. Make that a required question, okay, that they have to fill that in before they can continue, and we hit done. Alright, the little asterisk indicates that it's a required question. Okay, so that's our first question. We might want to use this same Google form across all of the Year 8 geography classes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to choose from a list. See this option here, choose from a list?
Yes.
Okay, so I click on choose from a list. Please select your teacher from the list. And mark what are our teachers' names. So we've got Mr. O'Neill, N-E-I-L-L.
Mr. Huggins, H-U-G-G-I-N-S. Miss Forgione, F-O-R-G-I-O-N-E. That's correct. Miss Granos, V-R-A-H-N-O-S.
Okay, excellent. So we make that a required question. So that will be a drop-down list, so they don't actually have to type it in. You won't get kids spelling your name wrong, and that is useful in terms of a whole cohort type response. So this is where we're now going to add in our questions around this particular topic, and here we're asking, and the first question we're going to ask them is, where is the barrier reef? Now, what I could do is I could put in a text field here, and the question is, where is the Great Barrier Reef? Question mark. Now, this could be a multiple choice question. You know, I could put New South Wales, Queensland, Tasmania, Victoria, Afghanistan. Or you could just ask the kids to type that in, all right? If I go required question, hit done, all right, that's what it looks like. What I could also do is, if I go to add item, I can actually put in an image in the Google form of the Great Barrier Reef. So you talked before about using Google Images. Well, we could build all this into the pre-test. Okay, so I'm just going to go away now and grab an image of the Great Barrier Reef. If I just type in Great Barrier Reef, okay, and go to images.
Yes.
Now, some of these images could be subject to copyright. So I'm not sure if you're aware of the search tools here. If I go to click on search tools, usage rights, labelled for reuse, what I should be doing is using these images. Okay, these images are copyright-free images to use. So let's just start. That's quite a nice one. It shows the context of the reef. So I click on that image. I click on View Image, which takes me to the actual image itself. So you can see there it's a JPEG image up the top.
Yes.
So I'm now just going to zoom out, and I'm going to, there we go, I'm going to save this image. I'm just going to put it on my desktop for the moment, okay?
Okay.
So, amazing Great Barrier Reef, desktop, there we go, let's save that. So there it is. And I go back into my Google form now, and I'm going to add an image. And if I upload this image, it's sitting on my desktop at the moment. There it is there. Yep. That's the one. Yep. And that's going to embed nicely in my Google form. Okay, so it's that that ease of use, you know, that quick immediate thing. You don't have to bring up an image. It's all in the Google form for the students to complete this pre-test. Okay, so it's saying that this image is too large. I might just need to go and find another one. Okay, so I've just found another image that's a bit smaller, and here it is here. Beautiful. So that will now upload successfully, and once that has completed, then that fits in there. You can actually resize this, by the way, so you can drag it down a bit further. Okay, so put it in the middle, hit done. Okay, so just to show you what this is looking like at the moment, this is my Google form in the editing mode. Okay, I'm going to add some more items here, just to show you what that looks like. If I go to View Live Form and click on View Live Form, this is what the students are going to see. So threatened habitats, please record your name, please record your teacher from the list. Where is the Great Barrier Reef? Okay, there's the image of it. All right, and you can see the submit button. All right, so just wanted to give you an indication as to what it's looking like. Maybe we need to provide some help text here, e.g. Include the country and state.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to provide them a bit more information there. Okay. All right, so what's our next item, mate?
Why is the giant panda under threat?
Okay, so what type of question would you make that out of this add item here? So paragraph text is sort of like a longer response, so that might be appropriate here. Yes. So we go paragraph text, and we can put in, why is the giant panda under threat. And again, we'll make that a required question. Okay, so you can see that that's just going to build up. So
Yes.
what we might do is we might just stop it here, and we'll populate this a bit more, and we'll look at the end result in a second. Okay, so we've just had a discussion off camera, if you like, that we might want images here. And so I suppose the great benefit of Google Forms is that at any particular time you can move these questions up or down. So say we wanted to move this question, we could literally just drag it above that previous one. So similarly, Mark said he wanted an image of a panda. Okay, so we can pop that in there. We just go add item, image, and we're browsing to one that we've prepared earlier. So there's our panda eating bamboo. And what we're then going to do is we're just going to drag him up to under the question. Okay, so just resize that, put that in the middle. Okay, hit done. And I'm just going to drag it up. Okay, that's good. While the numbers of polar bears declining, we're going to add the image there. And we're just going to grab this one. Wow, what a spectacular image. Jumping. Okay, so once we've done that, we'll hit done. And we'll just resize this as well. So sometimes they can be a bit large, and center align it. Okay, so you can see what it's looking like now. How do I see what it looks like for the students? I just go to that view live form, and you can see that it's looking quite good. Okay. All right. Now we're going to add a few more questions, and then the real critical part is we're going to get we're going to fill this in, and we're going to get some responses. Okay, so I'm just going to pause here. Okay, so you can just see I've added another question here. Now, interestingly, this is a higher order question. This is sorting the boys from the men type thing here, and you can see that I've actually unpacked this a bit for the kids. So you should be defining, so this concept of wildlife trade is the question. You should be defining this term and providing an example to demonstrate your understanding. So we're telling them how to unpack this question, but we've asked them, if you are unsure, please don't guess, write unsure. Because we want to get a sense of those students who, we need to build the field with, all right? And unpack this with in our classroom. So that's really important. Now, whilst we're going, obviously the question arises, well, how do I go and save this? Being a Google document product or a Google Drive product, everything is automatically saving as we're going. Now, if I go to my Google Drive, you can see right here that because that, can you see over here, I've got that last opened box. Let me just, you can see that last opened,
Yes.
last opened by me. So it's red indicating that that's how I've sorted my Google Drive at the moment. That's why these two folders are appearing here. Now, when you create a Google form, there is the form, which is this document, and then it creates an associated spreadsheet where all the data will essentially be populated. Okay, that's this document, right? So the two happily coexist, and I'll show you what happens when we start getting some kids to fill this document out. Okay, so we're now going to the next question. Okay, so we now have a Google form that will be implemented with the Year 8 cohort around threatened habitats. Now, you might say, well, how do I see what their responses are? And you'll see here this little button, so this is your view live form, this is what the students see. Okay, so when we distribute this is what they see. If I scroll here, see this view responses? So I want to see their responses, so you literally click on that. Now, when you click on it, what it's doing, it's taking you to this threatened habitat spreadsheet. Okay? So, and I could push that into a folder, Year 8. I could move those into a folder.
So that's a clean template.
Yes, yep. So if I come across here, this is what. Okay, so just a little footnote here around the bottom of the Google form. If you're using Google Forms for kids to evaluate each other's work, which we might do at the end of this initiative, then you would leave that box ticked where it says show link to submit another response. Okay, so at the end of them filling in the Google form, it will then provide a link. Click here to submit another response. For the purpose of a pretest though, we don't want them to submit another response, so we just untick that. Okay, so that's important. Again, untick that. Make sure that the top 3 boxes are unticked, and then what we're going to do is we're going to share that with the student via the Google URL Shortener, and that's the link that we're going to share with them. Okay, so shortly we're actually going to implement this Google form with our students. It's actually going to be a commerce class, Mark's commerce class, but that's okay, they can answer these questions, and we're just going to see how, in a really quick and efficient way, we can capture data around students' knowledge of threatened habitats. Now, one of the things I just showed Mark was the Google URL Shortener up here. This is what it looks like. Now, I like this for Google Forms because you can see the length of the URL is not something that I would entertain writing on the board. At present, I don't have a Google group set up that I could email this to them, so all I do is literally just click on the Google URL Shortener, and it creates a shortened URL that I could just read out to the kids and have them type into their browser. So gwo.gl/lowercase w, it is case sensitive, uppercase V, R, number 1, lowercase g, lowercase q. So when the kids type that in, they automatically get taken to this particular Google form. So this is what it's going to look like. Actually, there we go. Australia, Queensland, okay, under threat, not enough bamboo, okay, number of polar bears declining because they are all at SeaWorld. What is meant by wildlife trade? It might be trading animal cards. Why does species loss matter? Unsure. Okay, so I hit submit. Alright, let's have a look what that looks like then. So you can see up here, see how my responses has now gone to 1? So I've just submitted that form. I go to click on view responses. There's your data. Look at that.
Yeah, no, it's a good summary.
And what it also allows me to do is in the Google Forms spreadsheet, so this is the responses sheet in my Google Drive, I can go to Form, Show Summary of Responses, and look what it does. It graphs the responses. Okay, so I will see a summary view. Now it works better for multiple choice type questions, so I could see the proportion of kids that put down Australia and Queensland.
Yes.
But I will see a summary of their response there. Okay, so that's really, really useful. So after lunch, what we'll see is we'll see a whole lot of kids' responses in here, and how we can then take that forward.
Okay.